This is a video for a Lexus RX 400 hybrid, registered PX08GYY. This is the road test section of the video for the car. Obviously this should hopefully in due course follow on from a walk around and road test appraisal of the car. The purpose of the drive today is just to give reassurance to those who may be coming a fair distance to us that the car you're looking to come and see, first of all, obviously it drives as it should, but if there's any issues that I need to let you know about, then I obviously can do so in this video. What I try and do in the videos is to go through a kind of a sequence of events in terms of the kind of thing you'd probably look for yourself when you come to see the car. Obviously if you're interested in buying the car, you want to check certain things out. The reason we do this now is that we're selling to people all over the near continent and the extremes of the UK. So if people are willing to invest time, money and energy to come see our cars, then we feel as though it's the least we can do is to sort of show you the car in operation. This particular car has now done 57,703 miles. This is my own personal car. It's a car I use on a daily basis, so the mileage will go up. I'm not doing huge mileage, but obviously you just need to double check before you set off to us the mileage on the car at that time. But as I said, at the moment that's the current recorded mileage. So first things first, obviously engine. The V6 engine in these is a wonderful unit, and this is a fantastic example of one. The car's been very, very well looked after. It's got a full service history. The engine starts with no strange noises, no vibrations. Very, very sweet revving. It pulls really, really well. It's got a lovely kind of snarl to it, like when you put your foot down there. You can hear the engine kind of typical V6 soundtrack to the engine itself, but a lovely, lovely unit. The engine then goes through what they call a CVT gearbox, which is a constantly variable transmission. That basically means there's effectively there is no gear change. It's one smooth transition of power into the gearbox, and the gearbox optimizes the gear for you. It kind of has to be experienced to be believed, but it's just so smooth. You just put your foot down, you gain momentum, the engine picks up revs, but then those revs back off as they're pretty much instantaneously to the lowest revs it can pull for any given speed. So there's no gear change, there's no lurching, and this gearbox in this car is utterly silent in operation. Very, very, very smooth indeed. It's a wonderful transmission. I've had 3 or 4 of these cars, so I know exactly how they drive or how they should drive. They all pretty much drive the same as long as they've been well looked after. And this one's it's just a very, very nice, crisp example of one. Brakes on the car, absolutely rock solid. Lovely brake pedal, very firm. Not even a hint of vibration when you hit the brake pedal, suggesting that the brakes underneath are all in very, very good order indeed. The steering on the car's nice and precise. Again, no vibrations at speed. I'm a real. It's slightly nauseating if there's even a hint of tremor. I've got to get the wheels balanced. I hate things like that. And whichever speed, whether you're tootling around now or motorway speeds, there is no vibration at all coming back through the wheels or tyres of the car. Obviously, it also suggests that underneath the car that all's in good order in terms of kind of the mechanicals. There's very little wear exhibited underneath. All the electrics work absolutely perfectly. There's no warning lights on the dashboard at all. All the gauges work absolutely spot on. As you can see there, you've got the big screen sat nav. All the climate control functions work exactly as they should. There's not an issue with the car in terms of any of the buttons you're going to press on the vehicle. Power tailgates, as it will hopefully show on the previous section of this video, works exactly as it should as well. Driving the car, very smooth, very quiet. I still maintain this is the best way to get from A to B in any car. It's just so serene, so smooth. The suspensions, very, very, very smooth in operation, but it does mean it does have also the ability to change direction without wallowing around too much, which is quite a hard thing to achieve for manufacturers when you're given such a nice comfortable ride on a car. you know, I do put in the adverts, and I mean it quite sincerely. I mean, I've had, and there's no disrespect to them or the owners, obviously. I've had an Audi Q7, I've had an X5 BMW, I had an ML Mercedes. You know, all turbo diesels, all claiming that they should be giving sort of 35 miles to the gallon. The same trip I do to the northeast of England, I've done all of the cars. The Lexus is by far and away the most comfortable of the three. It's also the most economical of the three. I tend to get on a run sort of 32, 33 to the gallon out of mine, whereas the same trip, travelling at the same kind of speed and the same kind of traffic in all the other three cars, returned me sort of mid-20s. They were nothing like as good as they said, and all of them, every last one of those things, gave me trouble. Some minor but annoying, and a couple of them very expensive and very serious. And in all my experience of Lexus RX, apart from just putting brake pads and tyres on the cars, I've not experienced a single mechanical failure. So it's, you know, either I've been very lucky or unlucky, whichever way you look at it. But you know, as a company, we now don't sell the other makes just because of the issues that have been attached to them. So the problem with turbo diesels, they're very expensive to fix when they go wrong. But we've had these with huge mileages and not a single issue with them. So they're terrific cars. But it's a wonderful example of one. You know, the colour combination shouldn't be underplayed. You know, the lighter interiors are very nice, but they do look grubby quite easily. Black exterior with a black interior with a silver trim here is incredibly sought after, and it's what I always try and buy when I'm buying an RX. I said it's you know, it is personal choice. I appreciate that, but the values of the car are based on these kinds of things. But if you're coming a long way to come and have a look at the car or to entertain buying the vehicle, you know, I just want you to know that if you are coming, the car drives absolutely as it should. You will not find an issue with the vehicle at all. In terms of the mechanical, you know, worthiness of the vehicle, it's a wonderful, wonderful example. Just to show you, obviously the hybrid system on the cars, if those who haven't used it, is utterly brilliant. So times that now, the engine just goes totally silent. If I press a button here, so Daisy, it's gone to trip info. It just tells me it's got a little. You can see the screen there, hopefully. You can see what's going on. It's just on battery alone at the moment, which is fully charged. You don't charge the batteries up, the car does it for you. Every time you hit the brake pedal or back off the throttle, it's charging the system constantly, and then that energy is drawn upon later when you need it. So, you know, I can pull away on very light throttle in a second. It'll probably just pull away on battery power alone, and then the engine will kick in as and when it's needed. Or if I'm going to do an overtake at speed, it'll draw on all the energy available, and you know, it's a genuinely quick car. But if I put my foot down hard, then it kicks the engine in. It's putting all the energy into the car. Just brilliant and utterly seamless in the way it goes about its business. It's an incredibly clever system. It's also beautifully engineered in terms of the way it goes about it. You know, we've never ever had an issue with a hybrid system on this, or the Toyota Prius, or anything that uses this incredibly clever technology. But what's lovely about it is, ironically, even though it's clever and it's, you know, quite advanced, it's also an awful lot simpler than having twin turbochargers, twin intercooler, or an intercooler or twin intercoolers, and EGR valves and all the other horrible things like DPF filters that these turbo diesels now have to run, and they're causing so many problems for people. But you know, it's cruising on the motorways, a wonderfully sort of silent affair on the car. It's a really grand car. So anyway, that it's only a short video, but it's just to give you that reassurance. Just want you to know that this is my own personal car, so you know, this isn't just a sort of 10-minute test drive and I'm learning about it. This is a car that I've done a fair few thousand miles in, and I know the car drives beautifully.